Om Sadashiva-Samaramabham Shankaracharya Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Paramparam. Okay, we'll start with the question. What is the question?
So, Swamiji, the problem is discern. So, Mukshutvam is universal. Discern the problem to become a gymnast. You know that there are some fundamental questions or existence which should.
Yeah.
But then thereafter again to realize that you have to go to Shastras to understand that there is something like Vedanta where all the questions are answered. That, that step.
That's why you need the Shruti Vakyas.
Yes, Shruti Vakyas, but still,
You need some exposure. Without some exposure, no. See, you are now asking, how will somebody who has got nothing to do with this come to this? They won't. They won't come to it. How will people come to Vedanta? If you want nothing to do with this, you will not come to it. Let them not come now. See, Vedanta is not a mass approach. We try to reach out to people and we have 1,000 people coming for public talks, our program does that. It's always a minority.
Can I give an example, like my own example, if you don't mind? Like I knew you as my Tai Chi teacher. You were teaching.
Yeah, you knew me as a Tai Chi teacher for 10 years.
I bothered to ask what I knew that
Even though you are seeing me in this dress.
Christopher sir also used to say that you were doing an excellent work and I never even bothered to ask you one question as to what you were doing. But after my father passed away, when I asked you, that's the time you said, okay, go for the Bhagavad Gita class. Because Swamiji was there. But I didn't know that there was something like this even in Bhagavad Gita. So what I'm saying is that it's something which is beyond.
What she's saying is the level of ignorance is so much that we don't even know that something like this is possible. Correct? Level of ignorance is so much. Olden days, the level of ignorance was not so much. Today, after 1,000 years of foreign and colonial rule, it has become like that. In fact, in Islamic times, there were not so much of unawareness of the Shastra because there was strong resistance. Strong resistance. But during British times, when they changed the whole thing, education system, this, that, etc., after that, after 1837, etc., then the awareness that something like this exists kept going down. So that is a fact. Kali ke prabhav hai, it is not there. Therefore, we make attempts to make it popular. We do all that to see how popular we can make it. But it will never become popular. We will spread awareness of it. That's all. But in spite of spreading awareness, how many people have you tried to speak and how many of them come? It's always, you think, this is a nice friend of mine, good, very nice person, intelligent, good people, ethical, moral, all that. But Vedanta, they are not interested. It's always be like that.
Even religious homes, no, Swamiji?
The Viveka Vairagya comes.
No, I'm saying even homes which are deeply religious don't talk about Vedanta.
Religious homes don't talk about it, they're scared to talk. The more karma oriented you are, the less you will talk about this. It's almost as though there is a fear. Because many of the teachers in Vedanta, most of the teachers, have been sannyasis. Though there have been non-sannyasi teachers also. Like for one of the very famous was Vellangoda Ramarsha, Raja Kavi. He has written books like Shankara Bhashya, etc. Phenomenal works. And there are a lot of Pandita also. Mani Dravid, for example, in today's, right now. In fact, he is coming to Rishikesh on September. Mani Dravid is coming for a couple of lectures for us. Just to understand the different perspective of things. So, like that, there are teachers, but they are few. Not so well known. Because they have families to run. So, how much classes will they take? If you have a family to run, maybe 1-2 class ले सकते हैं a week. And then they got associated with Sanskrit colleges, etc. So it became more academic in its outlook. So, because most of the teachers are sannyasis, there is a fear that if you get involved in all this, you will also become one. In fact, Aroma Chinmaya Mission study groups, they encourage the study of Vedanta, but anyone talked about going to the ashram, the resistance was super strong. Yeah? You don't know the amount of resistance I faced to go to the ashram. From the study groups even. Yeah. See, because they are worried. Successful, academically okay, married engineer, okay, involved in social work, doing all these type of activities also. Therefore, role model, no? Role model. And there are 300 Balviya children. And I am held as role model. If I walk out, what will happen? The idea will come on other people's head also, no? In fact, both Uday Acharya and Dr. Geeta, who is in Nagpur, both of them got the idea of walking out after I walked out. So it is not something that will not happen. Of course it will happen. So that fear is understandable. Not healthy, but understandable. Fear is never healthy anyway. But understandable. So that is where the whole problem comes in. So the fear is so much, don't talk about it.
Also, now, Swamiji, nowadays it's a spiritual supermarket. Like when there were 10 of us in a wedding, and all 10 are following different things.
Then if you go on social media,
somebody
this
Brahma Kumari, somebody. There are so many things. My God, we don't even know what things are going on.
exactly. This gets lost. It becomes one of the things
Yeah.
among the 100 things available.
Yeah.
That's why Puja Swamiji used to hate to be on social media. He says, what? They're putting me along with the Reiki master. What is that? Yeah. He used to make fun of it. What do you mean putting your hands and healing somebody? He used to be dismissive. So, that is the thing. As far as
So when it says that like you have to do Shitvam, then you solve the problem, become a jnana, find the guru, study the shastras, but the second step in today's time it becomes
more difficult. Yes. That is why we are doing something today that was not done earlier. Outreach programs. I think the rishis did outreach programs. Public talk kiya tha rishi jaake. Vedic wisdom festival that they do, they didn't do all these things. We are doing it because we know it is more difficult in today's world for people to come to us. So we start doing things like that. Outreach. So that it's available. I walked in because of Swami Chinmayanji's outreach program. Public talks, and I walked in. So we do things like that to make it a bit easier. Until people say this should become a curriculum in school, and I don't think it should. Unless you introduce it very creatively, because I seen one thing happening with the Scouts program. I was part of the Scouts program, and it was a very, very beautiful character developing program for youngsters, for school students. Then they made it compulsory. They destroyed the movement in India. In Bombay at least, completely destroyed. Why? You don't get so many teachers, Scout teachers, who are enthusiastic about it. Because Scout teacher was always had some other work, and he was doing this as a part-time thing, out of his love and enthusiasm. So they went out of the picture. The PT teacher was given this job to the Scout. PT teacher doesn't know head or tail of what it is. What the whole Scouting movement is, the PT teacher has got no clue about it. So he sent for some 1 week training, and he's brought back. Mess. Destroyed the movement. Destroyed the movement. So they are going to make it compulsory in schools like that. But maybe we can have some few textbooks, good textbook introduced in school, so where the youngsters can discuss something like that can be done. But that will happen only when the pseudo-secular thing goes out, not before that. Secularism, if you are giving respect for all religions, that's fine. But if secularism means keeping the majority religion out, it is not fine. Because the whole laws that was made by the Congress government is very wonky. Minority religions are allowed to teach their religions in their schools. But if we start a school, we are not allowed to teach our religion. Even though it is not a government school, still we are not allowed to teach. So that's the wonkiness of the law. You can say a government school we are not going to teach. Okay, fine. Government school. What about other schools? Private schools? Like Swami Vivekananda or something like that? You can't. That's the law. Wonky laws made at the time of Congress rule. Nothing. Anyway, that apart. That's part Jnana. Let us come back to the first sutra. How does the first sutra start? Athato Brahma Jnana. What is Atha Shabda? Atha meaning what? What does it mean? Thereafter. Literal meaning. From all the possible meanings, meaning taken is thereafter. Because now we are going to start succession, all that is not so. Okay? All that is not completeness. Those are not the meaning. The meaning is taken thereafter. Then the question comes, after what? Because thereafter can mean anything, including after having done all the karma. In fact, if you study Vedanta Sara, there doesn't the author say, after having done all the karmas, etc., you come to Vedanta? But there he doesn't insist on all the karmas. He only says some naimittika karma for antakarna shuddhi, some prayashrita karma, etc., if you have done something wrong in life. He restricts it to that. He doesn't say all the karmas are true. Therefore, thereafter means sadhana chatushtaya sampanna. And he gives a very good argument for that. Even before you have studied the karma kanda, there is mumukshutvam in people. There is a desire to know the truth in some people. And not only that, if they get exposed to Vedanta, they can know the truth as well. So there is no rule that you should have done all the karma. Because the important thing is, it's a question of handling the mind, mastery of the mind. Okay? Maturity of the mind is what it is. And that can happen in 100 different ways. Maturity and mumukshutvam together can happen in 100 different ways. Maybe in olden times, a life of karma, etc., helped them. Okay? In Naishkarma Siddhi, which we will see later, he says, yeah, sitting in front of that fire and the smoke, people get fed up of it. Just imagine in this season in Bombay, like not last Saturday, before that, I sat for a homa. Okay. There's one homa. I said, as it is hot. Agre Vandi Prishte Bhanu. I said, okay, because the sun was coming from the east. It was at 10 o'clock in the morning. The sun was coming from the east. And the Homa is there, so in front. In this weather, you can't put the fans on because the fire is on. Vairagya aayega ki nahi aayega?
And that took for 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
For 5 minutes.
2 hours thing, yeah. Vairagya can come, yeah. I mean, whatever, it may have happened. In today's world, I don't see that happening. Very rare. Very rare. In fact, in my personal knowledge, there was only one person. Swami Jagdishananda. think from Coimbatore. He was an astrologer before and he would do a lot of karmas for people. Then he came, joined a course and took sannyas also from Puja Swami. Yeah. Exception to the rule. Another person whom I have heard but I don't know personally was the person who initiated Puja Swamiji, who gave Puja Swamiji Brahmachari Diksha, you know, as a 6-year-old when you wear the Yajnopayutam. The Pandita who did that took sannyas. He must have thought, this young boy who grew up in front of me has become a sannyasi and a great jnani. What am I doing like this? So it is not the karma that triggered of that. It is the fact that this person whom I initiated into Brahmacharya has become a sannyasi and a jnani. What am I doing in this setup? Still stuck. Probably that's how it comes about. Probably in today's world. So a prepared mind can be him. If you live your life well, analyze things well, analyze. That's important. To examine your life, where you are headed, to get in touch with your priorities, all that is important. Because then the mokshitvam will be discerned. If that is not done, you are going with the flow. Like many of us did that, no? Everyone went for a particular branch of knowledge, we also went for it. Everyone got married, we also got married. Everyone had kids, we also had kids. Where did you examine life? It is not that these fundamental questions were not asked. In your teenage years, you ask these questions. Later on in the competitiveness of life, it got buried under. So much so that if you said you didn't want to get married, they looked at you as though something's wrong with you. Don't want to have a child. What? What's wrong? Today that is changing. Thank God. Today that is changing. But it is not changing in a healthy way of growth or spiritual growth, etc. It is becoming solo body army. Okay. In other words, you want to remain single and have multiple partners. That's all it means. The only hope is they'll get fed up of that and look for something deeper. So, maturity in life is what brings you to Vedanta. Atha Shabda. But for clarity's sake, Atha means Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna Ananda. Because if you don't have all the sadhana chatushtaya, your insights can be there in a good traditional class. Sampradaya with Acharya, insights you will get, but it will never be a fact of your life unless sadhana chatushtaya is there. Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampati, Moksha. Therefore, that becomes a game. Atasha. Okay. Any questions on this or this is clear? Those of you are planning to attend Swamini's Brahma Sutra also, she'll make you do all this, okay? Yeah, I won't do the summary. She'll make you all do the summary. So you better be ready for it. I'm not doing it because then 3-4 classes will go in that. That's why I'm not making you all do it. Atha Shabda. Okay. All right. Then we saw all the Purva-paksha, Sesha, Sashti, all that thing. Order, succession, all that we saw. But the main thing is this, that sadhana chatusha sampanna. Second atha means what? Second word. What does that mean?
Therefore.
Therefore meaning what?
So, the limitation of karma not being a sadhana for moksha and going to a teacher was
Both are
study of it.
Both are right. And this is also with reference to the Upanishadic Vakyas. It's always a reference. Okay. The first reference for this sadhana chatushtaya, etc., plenty are available. Pariksha Lokan, etc., Shanto, Danto, Bhutva, Gurumeva Vigachi. All that is there. There are plenty of statements. Second also, what is the main statement to show that karma will not give you moksha? Huh? Na karmana na prajaya. Okay, that's one. Yes. Yata iha karma jito loka kshiyate tatha punya jitaha jo loka kshiyate. Most clear-cut statement available. The things that you achieve here by karma will wear away. The things that you achieve hereafter by punya will also wear away. Very clear. Very clear. Jnaneneva tu kaivalyam, jnanameva tu kaivalyam. Atha then sa gurumeva abhigachet shrotriyam brahmanishna. What is the statement in the Gita? Huh? Tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So the going to the teacher, that becomes also important because that has to be said. That has to be said. That you have to go, come to the Shastra and learn, that has to be said. If that is not said, you will fall for anything and everything that is there. Normal karma doesn't work, you will try some abnormal karma. Stand on my head, I get a new perspective of life. Access bar consciousness. ये क्या बात है? Something or the other will come up. Akashic records. Yeah, you're going to access actually. Akashic records. Akashic records is Hiranyagarbha's mind. If you're really looking into what it is. And you're going to access it. It requires years of meditation to get it, and you're going to do it with a weekend course. Yeah, Swami, you really got insights. You got insights or you got your projections. You will fall for all these things. Grandmaster, be a grandmaster in Reiki. 2 days, 4 weekends, you will become a grandmaster in Reiki. And if the Reiki teacher is good, you will say, after the first course, there must be minimum 1 year, 1 month gap. After the second, there should be 6 months gap, 1 year gap, etc. Even then, we have been doing energy work for 20 years, we don't say we are energy masters, grandmasters. Master nahi bolte hai, grandmaster kidhar. So, yeah, some people may be able to do it faster because Purva Janma pravritti is there. So some will get it. But that doesn't mean all will get it. But you will fall for all these things. Therefore, the Shastra clearly specifies Kshotriyam Brahmanishtam Gurumeva Abhachet. Swatantrena Brahmanveshanam na kurya. Independently, don't go into the pramana for knowing Brahman. Because you know Sanskrit, you know Nyaya. But the unfoldment is entirely different. All the Lakshana, this, that, etc. How do you unfold? You won't know that. All that unfolding you won't know. Therefore, you will not get it. At the most, you will have an academic understanding. Which is not bad, general understanding. But then you will say it doesn't work. I studied the Upanishad, it doesn't work. You will say that. I studied all this, it doesn't work. Correct, it doesn't work. Because that's not the way you are supposed to study it. With all the elaborate teaching, it takes time. And some people prove the teaching very well. Why? After 20 years, they are unchanging. I'm joking, okay? I'm not hinting at anyone. Because some people may think I'm hinting at no, I'm not hinting. I'm just joking. But it is true. It takes time. It takes time.
Swamiji,
Yeah.
I had a question with this
Sure.
respect. Like so, Vedanta we have, and from our land, like Bharat Bhumi only, yoga came in, Patanjali came in. Okay, so now there is even a parampara in yoga, so all the Rishi Munis are there.
Yeah.
And then they spoke about all the different levels and they reached up to Samadhi. And then, so now these are treated as two different branches, like Vedanta and yoga. They are two different pathways.
Yeah.
Of course, we say that yoga will not reach there because it's only mental Samadhi.
Yeah.
They don't have the knowledge. But people who are doing only Vedanta, like sometimes it becomes very cerebral and intellectual. na?
Yes.
So Vedanta should have a part of yoga because, like, if you are, people don't even know where they are. Like I took so many years to, I was listening, but to make it work, it will not take one, it will take janmas.
So
why
once again,
not
once
yoga?
again,
Because,
where does yoga come in Vedanta? Tell me. It comes in,
Gita,
but where does
yeah, it comes in Gita.
huh?
The mind preparation, but that
Once again,
Yeah.
what is the yoga that Vedantins follow where you convert your whole life into a sadhana?
that is prasada buddhi and
Yeah.
yeah. But the what Patanjali and all when they're
Yeah.
talking about this chakras, so they are the levels of it. So when you are at the Mooladhara chakra, the people are at desire level, means wanting to more things.
One second.
So that
So,
science
one
doesn't
second.
have any
I
correlation.
get your question.
Yeah.
So,
Can you repeat the question?
yeah, I'll repeat the question.
Yeah.
So, the question is like, see, here there's hardly any sadhana. Whereas, let us take yoga. There is gradation of your progress. Gradation of your progress is not seen when you just do asana and this thing in a class. That way it's not seen. But if you are doing the whole Ashtanga process, Yama Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Samadhi, Dhyana, Samadhi, if you are doing it, then your chakra starts opening up. So there you know, okay, first chakra this has happened, second this has happened, third. Fine. So in yoga there is a progressive process. In Vedanta, how will you find out whether there is progress or not? That's your question, isn't it?
No, the question is that the mind has to become so sukshma because the thing which we are learning, it is we cannot have
Yes.
such a sthula mentality. We are still at the level of earning and getting and emotional opening also, so much openness, like so much hatred on social media nowadays. So where will you open up and whom do you trust? You can't trust a Hindu, forget
So
a
it comes
Muslim.
back to Atha only, na?
So that is
One second.
this
So
is
your
so much
question is,
happening.
one second, your question is, mind has to be sukshma. I agree. But do you think only by focusing on the chakra and you are doing energy work, etc., your mind will become sukshma? Huh?
Everything, bhakti, I'm not saying only that.
One second. You're not getting it. You know, you're trying to compartmentalize.
I think
One second,
everything
one
is
second.
needed to
Yeah,
grow
one
because
second,
it's
one
not
second,
going
one
to
second.
work otherwise, na?
One second. Relax. There, according to the person, if you have one-to-one with your guru, the guru tells you what to do or what not to do. Number one, what you need to do. Number two, what is the general sadhana given to everyone in Vedanta? Karma Yoga Buddhi, some Japa Dhyana. Think Japa Dhyana is not enough to make your mind sukshma? You're not doing it enough.
No, I
One second.
for 1
The
hour
time-
in the morning and whole day I'm listening to something. Yeah.
So the whole day, half an hour morning, evening, you can do Japa Dhyana. 15 minutes per day. Correct? Whole day, what are you doing? Work. Desire prompted. Earning money. Taking care of patients. Is there Ishvara Arpanam and Prasada Buddhi in every action of yours? When you are having a difficult patient and you are struggling over that patient, are you saying Ishvara Arpanam there?
Yeah,
any job.
No,
I am just picked up an
yeah.
example.
No, I'm just saying that the training of the mind, like even Tai Chi helps. Awareness.
Anything can help.
Yeah.
Before I came to Vedanta, I didn't do any Tai Chi. Mine was commando training. It helps. Anything and everything in life that calls for discipline will help. Football will help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People.
But every footballer will not come to Vedanta. You think their mind is sukshma? They are gadas. Na? Many of them. Have you seen them?
I know my son is not.
Dumbos there sometimes. They have to be pushed to pass there, because if you are in a football scholarship in the American university, you enter, ask your children, they'll tell you. They come with a sports scholarship, generally football. How much they struggle over their normal studies. Sukshma mind ki, their gross mind is also not good. They struggle over it. And there are some people who started like that. For example, Muhammad Ali, who became the first among the first conscientious objector for the Vietnam War, this, that, etc. So he grew here. Yeah. So that growth has to happen. It may happen with that, may not happen. Your emotional growth, your intellectual growth will happen only if you pay attention to it. This is very, very important. We don't pay attention. Social media, of course, social media. I suddenly looked at my phone. Arey yaar, 3 hours I'm on the phone every day. What is this? So who asked you not to turn it off? Who asked you not to turn it off? Like Somni has done something very nice. She doesn't have Facebook, Instagram, etc. on her phone. She has it only on her laptop. So abhi laptop khulne ka hai. I said, if I put my Facebook on laptop, I'll never even look at it. I open my laptop only for classes. So who's asking you to look into all that? People do. So people do, let them do, na. I mean, this is modern life. This is modern life. So it's up to you to take charge of your life. Who's going to take charge of your life? You have to. Nobody else can take charge. Nobody else can take charge. The system has everything in it. Because you are living life. So who said discipline should not be there in your life? Are we saying as students of Vedanta we should not get involved in sports? We should not get involved in something or the other? We are not saying that. Are we saying don't do yoga? We are only saying by yoga you will not gain moksha. By martial arts or Tai Chi you will not gain moksha.
But yoga is a misunderstood term. People think that exercise is
Exactly.
yoga. Like yoga.
So that वो तो कली की प्रभाव है. So they think by Nyaya you can gain moksha. They think by Sankhya you can gain moksha. One person who is a genius level intelligence, junior of mine, he said through physics I want to gain moksha. I want to know the truth through physics. I said keep trying. 20 years back, 20 years later you will come to me. He said this about 20 years back. I must see where he is. Yeah, 20 साल हो गया. देखने का किधर है. So, this will always happen. Brilliant guy. He works, does projects for the DRDO and everything. He's got patents in his name. In India, to get patents in your name is so difficult, but he has got it. Brilliant. He was very unhappy when I walked to the ashram. You know why? Arey yaar, I wanted to sail as your junior. With you as a chief and me as Pancho, I wanted to sail like that. I said, yeah, it would have been fun. Why? You'll do everything, I don't have to bother about it. But the thing is, because you are a student of Vedanta, it does not mean you don't get involved in other things in life. You live life to the full. That's what Karma Yoga is about. If Karma Yoga is about living life to the full, following your desires, your interests, your passions, your priorities, then how is it that life is not going to make you ready? If you have that attitude. But people say Ishwararpanam Prasada Buddhi, but they don't have it. Yes, only Ishwararpanam Prasada Buddhi. Then what when things go wrong? What happens then? Simple. Your son is dating someone you don't like. Prasada Buddhi bolo. Tell me Prasada Buddhi. What's wrong with him? Nothing, but I don't think he's good enough for my son. Okay, that's all. Nothing wrong with him. I can understand if there is something seriously wrong with him. If you don't think he is good enough or she is good enough. So abhi Prasada Buddhi kidhar gaya? Ishwararpanam. Say prayer and leave it, na? थोड़ा सद्बुद्धि दे दो उनको. Say prayer and leave it. Prasada Buddhi किधर हो गया? नहीं होता है. We talk about Prasada Buddhi, but it is not there in our lives. That is the issue.
Swamiji, when I was in the course, and Swamiji, Swamiji towards the end of the course, all the youngsters who come from abroad, and we had so much of emotional issues.
A lot of emotional issues.
So after towards the completion, they asked Swamiji what to do now. You know what Swamiji said, get married.
Swamiji said get married, because you have a lot of emotional issues, correct? There was one boy whom I know. He has read a lot on his own. And he thought, I'm ready now. All this Ishvara and this is all not meant for me. I am going for the 3-month course, and if next 3-year course I will do it. So he asked me, I said, try it out. If Sakshaji accepts you, go. Within 1 week, he fell in love with a girl. 1 week. Nothing wrong. But it showed. He understood. I thought I was ready, I am not ready. I said, good. You understood that. That's what getting involved in life is not. Isolation doesn't help. Get involved in life. Then you will know where your growth is, where your growth is not there. That's why Karma Yoga is not optional. Karma Yoga as a sadhana is huge. People don't realize how much of a sadhana it is. If you can really be. I remember this clicking into my mind. I must have been in 10th standard, I must have just about heard about it. And I took the youngsters for a camp, scout camp. Scoutmaster was not there. Okay? I and someone else was in charge. We went there in the night. It rained. In October, it rained. Diwali, we had gone after Diwali in the holidays. Can you imagine rain in Bombay? We are at Vasan. Vasan is very close to where our ashram is. It's on the Titwala route, Vasan. I showed you that island. Remember, Sunita was there. I showed you that island where we camped. It rained. Morning getting up, firewood is wet. Everything is wet. Tent, clothes, everything. And I remember looking at all the thing. I mean, all the kids are saying, sir, what will we do now? What will we do now? The other guy who was also in charge is saying, Ramon, kya karega abhi? And I'm looking at the whole thing. Suddenly it clicked. Fact, accept. And do what you can about it. I remember that thought 50 years later, 60 years later, it is still there in my mind, you know. Accept. I said, okay guys, all the firewood on the beach for drying out. All your clothes, etc., hang them out. Trees, this, that, put lines up. Hang them out to dry. Tents, let it be, they'll dry in the breeze anyway. But we need firewood to make tea, breakfast, etc. No? Okay, I know there is a farmer living there. We'll go and get some firewood from him. He would have kept it safe. So we trusted in few of us, a couple of us, and said, sir, this is what has happened. We need some firewood. Yeah, take whatever you need. I must have been in 10th standard. That it clicked acceptance. That Even that happens in life, any situation. For a 15-year-old, that's a big thing, no? 15, 16-year-old, you are in charge and the whole thing is a mess like this. Yeah. First of all, 15, 16-year-old taking charge of a camp like that itself is a big thing. Yeah, the acceptance. Right? Now do what's necessary. So this acceptance and proactiveness. Acceptance on one side, proactiveness on the other side. This is Karma Yoga and this is what is missing in people's life. Problems will be there, issues will be there. Accept it. If necessary to get angry also. That's also okay. If that helps you, it helps. If it doesn't, no, not worth it. Whatever emotion, manage them and use them. So that Karma Yoga Buddhi is not a simple sadhana. It is something that you are doing sadhana 24/7. Whole life you are in sadhana. See, it's not that 15 minutes morning, 15 minutes evening. That's only for japa dhyana or breathing practice, whatever. What about the other? The other time is acceptance. Prasada buddhi Ishvara arpana. That Ishvara should be there in your mind. It is not there in most people's mind. That is why adhikaritvam doesn't happen. Otherwise, the fastest adhikaritvam will happen there. Fastest your mind will get ready there. It is always there. But for us, Ishvara becomes out of sight, out of mind. When you think of Ishvara, you are thinking, but it is not like that. Ishvara is everything. So how can he get out of sight? It should be there in the background. At least in the background it should be there. Foreground, what you are dealing with is there. Background, Ishvara. That has to be. If that is not there means, then you do something. Then you do some bhakti sadhana to get that into your mind always. And along with that, if you need other disciplines, pick it up now. Pick it up. This is the best thing I have found about Zen masters. Any activity they are doing, they will make it contemplative. So that the mind is like that. Any activity. This flower arrangement, cooking. हम लोग cooking ऐसा करेगा क्या? How do you cut? Every piece will be same as the other piece. यार टैंक इधर है, चप 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 चप. Have you seen a Muslim lady cutting onions for biryani? Mass cooking, big cooking, you know. She will cut 1 kilo of onions. I have seen this lady cutting 1 kilo of onions. Fast, but so symmetrical. Not that her mind is contemplative, it is not. I am just talking about the difference. It is not the symmetry, it is how the mind has been trained that matters. Yeah. So even if they pick up a glass of water, there is a way they will pick up, there is a way. Least expenditure of energy and calmness. Yeah? No overthinking. We overthink issues. Constantly the mind is overthinking issues. What? Think when you have to. You know, we swing between two extremes. We are not analytical enough on one side and we are overthinking on the other side. So when right thinking is necessary, there we go off and overthink on the other side. And if your mind requires certain other disciplines, like I found, hey, I am good in pushing myself this, that, etc. But I am not good in self-denial. In the sense of fasting. I said, no, I have not done this in my life before. Kar lega. Yeah. I was a marine training. So first day I decided fasting will be skipping lunch. Breakfast I'll have, at tea I'll have, in between that lunch I will skip. And believe me, for 2 hours I was thinking only of food. First time I tried fasting. But if you need something, you put it into your life, na? Be self-aware enough to add what is necessary. What you have, what you don't have. Will is weak. Okay, develop your will. Whatever you need to put that in. Because preparing the mind is not isolated from life. So, and then the second Atha Shabda, you are going towards Atmakam. That the Shastra has to say. Atha is important. Because otherwise you will fall for anything and everything. Therefore, Guru Meva Vigachet, Shotriyam, Brahmanishtam, etc. All that becomes part of it. Then Brahma Jignasa is what? Jnatamicha, okay. And is Brahman as an object there, or is it presented as something else? Yeah, Karmani Sashti is presented as an object of desire. It's important. Then the whole question comes up, how can Jignasa be there? Because Jnatamicha Jignasa. How can, and Ichha is for Brahman. Ichhaya, Jnatum, Ichhaya, okay. Ichhaya, Karma, Jnanam. You can desire to know something. And the object of this desire is Brahman. Then the question came up, what? How can you desire to know something you don't know? How can you desire to know something you don't know? That's why the whole thing came up. Apata Jnanam is there. In fact, forget Brahman. We chose our careers. I want to be a doctor. I want to be an engineer. Did you have a clue what it meant to be a doctor or an engineer? यार इतना सब करने का तो मैं नहीं बनता. No, I did my engineering, but now I have changed. I am into finance. Nothing wrong, because engineering gives you an analytical mind. But you branch out into finance. No, I am into coding. Coding. So when did coding become engineering? Coding is software also. Really, when did coding become engineering? No, I didn't want to get into manufacturing. But that is engineering. Because we had some rough idea, some general knowledge. Yeah, 40% of the probationers in SBA were engineers. Because you went in for a line without, you had some general knowledge and you went in for that. Motivation may have been entirely different. Motivation may have been money. You think in this field you will make a lot of money, therefore you took it up. My interest in medicine was I took up marine engineering because independence was fastest there. Independence was the value that drove me to do that. So, Apata Jnanam is enough for you to say, I want to know what Brahman is. You think when people walk into a Vedanta class in the beginning, all of you walked in, did you really know what Brahman was about? Did you have an idea what you were in for? Did you even think you'll study for 10 years, 15 years? No, no. But apata jnanam is good enough. The general knowledge about Brahman that you have is good enough to come to you. Therefore, all the things that give you general knowledge about it. Yeah. You read, you read a management book on management. And then you look at the bibliography. He has mentioned a translation of the Gita. Gita has this, I don't know that. Let me study the Gita and see what it is. If the author and the management book is good, and so if the author has, it can trigger out like that also. No? Then when you read the Gita, you understand there's something like truth, reality, etc. If you read, you won't understand all that. You read, you get a general knowledge. Then you say, I want to know more. Then you hear about some teacher teaching the Gita and you go. And if he is a traditional teacher, then you will understand more.
So in fact, Swamiji, if there is a clean slate, helps better. Because otherwise you come with so many different interpretations. If you have read something that you have to first discard it to understand.
So that discarding happens as part of the teaching. No?
But otherwise if you don't know anything, that's better because
You start. Yeah. But then what happens is afterwards you will hear those things and say, hey, that is also true. So either way, there are advantages and disadvantages both ways. Whether you have heard before and come or you have come fresh. So, apata jnanam. Brahmanaha apata jnanam jignasaya karanam. So the cause is that. Therefore we saw all the arguments. Karmani sashti, this sashti, all that thing. Okay. And then we say, okay, therefore and we also saw that phala jijnasa veda between karma kanda, all that was in between, to show that karma kanda is not necessary for this. In that ending of the first thing, we saw all that also. Then only if you are, that's why look at that question that you have. Brahmanaha jignasa, Brahma jignasa. And he said, use karmani sashti, not sesha sashti. And he says then, but if you do karmani sashti, you may leave out other things. So what was the answer for that? Whatever is necessary will come in. And the example given was what? Raja so, the king is going. The king is going. You know, the king will not be going alone. Retinue will be there. Bodyguards will be there. Security will be there. So whatever is necessary will be there. So similarly, if you are doing Brahmana Jignasa, whatever you need will be there. You get involved, you recognize. See, there is one thing that is assumed in all this. That a student of Vedanta will have some degree of self-awareness. If you have understood, you have mumukshutva. Forget jignasa. Mumukshutva. And you have understood also that all this is not going to give you the joy you need, the fulfillment you need. And you have also understood for this you have to go somewhere to learn. There is a lot of self-awareness. So when you go to your teacher, you will drop the self-awareness or you will build up on it. Yeah, you will build up on it. A self-awareful person can become a self-realized person, can gain self-knowledge. A self-awareful person can gain self-knowledge. But I remember giving a talk like this long back. From self-awareness to self-knowledge. Because that's necessary. If you don't have that self-awareness and you build up on the self-awareness. So your self-awareness, Arey yaar, others know this, I don't know this one, so maybe I should pick up this. Like many of you here chose to pick up some chanting. Why? Did I say go learn chanting? I deliberately have not said it. But many of you went and picked up chanting, no? Why did you do that? Because somewhere you recognize this will help. Many of you learned how to do a puja, correct? Why? I just said it's good to worship the Lord, nothing else. You have done your own worship. No, because self-awareness is there. Hey, I don't know, therefore I better learn. Or I'll do it my own way. Both are good. But that self-awareness made you learn certain things. No? Of course, one thing everyone could learn and they are not doing enough because it takes a bit more effort. Good to learn some Sanskrit also. We'll see how we can put it in. So, the king and the retinue. So similarly, if you look at Brahma, whatever is necessary will come in. So, this is where the whole thing comes in. Whatever necessary, will bring it in. Now look at it. The sutra is in a funny position, really speaking. Has the sutra analyzed anything of the Shastra? No. It's only set up base. Therefore, really speaking, it's outside the analysis. The first sutra, really speaking, is outside the analysis. The analysis of Brahman starts with the second sutra. At the same time, without the first sutra, the other sutras won't work. So it is inside also. It's inside also. It's like a lamp kept on the threshold. It lights both outside and inside the room. Throw its light both outside and inside. The same way here. Okay. Therefore, he ended up by saying that there are plenty of notions about the Atma. When there are so many notions, so many darshanas are there talking about the Atma differently. Astika darshanas that accept Veda as a pramana, like Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, etc. Nastika darshanas, which does not accept Veda as a pramana, like Buddhism, Jainism, etc. But all of them talk about the Atma, all of the various opinions of the Atma. When there are so many opinions of the Atma, that means what? Atma is not clear. If it was clear, you wouldn't have so many of them. Do anyone discuss? Does anyone discuss? Fire is hot or cold? I think it is both hot and cold. I suppose opinions are there. The old example is Kakadanta Parikshanam. Examining how much, debating on how many teeth does a crow have. Nowadays, for youngsters, towards youngsters, you can't give this example. Crow, raven, pigeon, what are you talking about? Is it like a crow dekha nahi? It will happen. It's not far-fetched, it will happen. "20 years ago, I went to Rishikesh and my friend's daughter was there. We were all waiting for Swamiji to come out of the room. So in that silent atmosphere, suddenly this kid's voice, 4-year-old, 5-year-old kid's voice, "Amol, I went to the market today and I saw a cow." It was 25 years back, 90s. "I saw a cow." Never seen a cow. Stays in Pedder Road. Pedder Road में किधर cow देखेगा? So Kakadanta Parikshanam, another few years I can't say that I use that example. Okay. Examining how many teeth the crow has. You can't say that. Therefore, different opinions means there is confusion about it, there is ignorance about it. Therefore, vichara is necessary. Therefore, atato Brahma Jignasa becomes atato Brahma Pramana Vicharaha Kartavya. Sadhana Chatushtya Sampanna Antaram Gurumeva Vigache Shotriya Brahmanishtam and then Tadantaram Brahma Pramana Vicharaha Kartavya. Vichara, analysis of the Pramana that deals with. This is the whole meaning of that sentence. Okay. So we saw the Pada meaning first. Okay. This is the Pada Artha. Then we saw the Lakshana, this is the implication. Now the whole statement after that, the Pada Sangra, this sentence, whole sentence is clear now. This is it. Therefore, next sutra goes into what is Brahman. Naturally, once you have said this is it, then you have to say what is Brahman. Kim Tat Brahman. That we will see next class. Okay. So that's